Good morning. Welcome to another Think Tank. My name is Olivier Lewis. For those of you who haven't met, broker owner of the Cranford office. So welcome all of our REMAX First team of agents and anyone else out there watching this. Today's Think Tank is going to be interesting because this is a Ask Me Anything think tank. So if you guys have questions, I have the comments up. Please chime in. I need your cooperation or this will be a very short think tank. So with that, whatever questions you have on the market, marketing, lead gen, anything real estate wise, I want to keep this as an open forum and get some questions answered for you guys. So I'm monitoring the questions. Let's start with those here. Shoot, ask me anything.
Okay. Right now with the market shifting, what would you suggest for an agent, like for lead gen? I mean, should you still be going through like a Zillow, or would you recommend something else?
Great question. So the question is, with the market shifting, what should you be doing for lead gen? Correct?
Correct.
All right. I think no matter what market we're in, it's back to basics of your past clients, and your referral source is always going to be your number one lead gen. And I'm going back to R4, which was in February, and Brian Buffini spoke. He was one of the keynote speakers. And he said this, which really resonated with me, of how people think his work by referral strategy is dated and old school, and they think they've heard it all before, and there's nothing new with his strategy. But he said, here are the numbers from last year, and 70% of real estate transactions were referral and repeat business. So it all comes back to that, right? Working by referral and repeat business. But as far as you mentioning Zillow and different lead strategies, I would say start with doubling down on your past clients, your referrals. I think being more intentional. I did a think tank about this a couple of weeks ago. Our clients don't know that we rely on their referrals. They think, oh, you work at REMAX or the big box brokerage, and that's why you're successful because they give you all the clients. They don't know. They refer us when it's in their hands and convenient, but they're not going out of the way. And I think if they understood that our whole lifeline is referrals, they would do it more. So I would start with that.
So I actually have two questions. One is what advice would you give to a new agent that's just coming on and they're facing this economy issue that we have right now, right? With interest rates going up.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them who are they don't have the past clients, they're starting from scratch? Do you recommend like OpCity, or do you recommend certain things?
I'm going to get into that because that ties into her too. So Zillow was really, really great, I think, before the pandemic, and it's still good, but I don't think it's going to have the impact it had, because how do you get leads from Zillow? Anyone want to guess?
People clicking.
Clicking from what? Listings.
Yes.
When there's an active listing, they click. So for those of you that bought Zillow, if you bought in certain areas and a new condo comes up at 150,000, you get all these leads, right?
Right.
When something low comes up, everyone's clicking. So when there's inventory, Zillow works great because people are inquiring. When there's no inventory, are you getting those clicks and inquiries? Think about it. So if right now we're in an inventory crunch where things are getting listed on Monday and being sold by Wednesday and coming off the market, there's not enough inventory for Zillow to really work as well. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. That doesn't mean cancel your membership, but that means you guys have to be more outbound and proactive to generate clients. This is where the sales part of your sales associate title kicks in. But other things that are working, which Carl started speaking about over a year ago, is Google service ads. They work very well. Something simple to do, and everyone's on Google. Like pretty much, I'm going to make the assumption that everyone's browser goes right to Google. No one's on Bing or Yahoo search. It goes right to Google. So when clients are looking for realtors, they're going to type in top realtor in Cranford, East Brunswick, Hamilton, Middletown, etc., and you come up. So I would look at that, Tanya, to put a bow on your question. But yes, lead gen, I would say past clients, referrals. I would look at Google service ads, and I would look at my strategy. What am I doing outbound? I think the phones rang a lot in the last 2 years, and we're kind of spoiled by it. But now the sales part of your sales associate title kicks in, and you have to go outbound. Figure out what your outbound strategy is, what you can commit to, and do that. Now, to your point about this economy, so a lot of agents that have been in the market since 2011, 12, 13, and more recent, they've never seen anything but this, right? The market's going up. They've never seen this. They've never seen this. So it's a lot of panic and fear. But guys, people like me, Carl, that started when the market was doing this and tanked, we've seen those markets, so we know how to maneuver. It's not for everyone. Some people will not make it through the market, and that's only because they're not prospecting and they don't have clients. But look at every opportunity as exactly that. If you look at it as a lead, that's a bad lead. Look at it as an opportunity. Anyone here, how many people here rather plan to be in the business in the next 6 months, 2 years, 5 years? So if you get an opportunity with someone, whether it's an Opcity, whether it's a Zillow lead, whether it's an open house client, and they have bad credit, don't have a down payment yet, aren't ready, don't know what they want, are completely unrealistic of what they could afford, does that mean it's a bad lead or a bad opportunity?
No.
What's bad is your approach to it, saying they're not serious, delete. That's what's bad, is our approach to nurturing and incubating that client. Because if they're going to buy in 2 years, guess what? I want that lead in 2 years. Mm-hmm. If they're going to buy in 6 months or 3 years, I want them. That doesn't mean you have to call them every day or every week or even once a month, depending on what the scenario is. But we have to learn to incubate and work and nurture clients more. Opcity works. I've had some agents tell me it's terrible. The people are this or that. And I have other agents that closed 11 transactions from Opcity last year. Our top agent using the Opcity platform closed about 11 last year. How is that, right? It's because someone's nurturing, someone gets it, get in front of them, someone's educating them, someone's being patient and waiting to get through the sales cycle, while others just want the now lead, immediate gratification. I want you to write an offer. That's not realistic. Guys, and look at rents. Rents are skyrocketing. So yes, it was more affordable when the rates were 3%, but it's still affordable, and in a lot of cases more affordable to own the home than pay rents. The price of a 3-bedroom, to me, in certain markets where I have rental properties, has gone up 35, 40% since pre-pandemic. So if you look at that, and we look at mortgage payments, you're going to get more rent if it's a multifamily, and if it's a single family, go try and rent that single family. It's going to cost you very comparable. So there's still going to be demand. Luckily for us, we're right outside of a major metro, which is New York City. And you guys know that that's a big percentage of our buyers. So we're always going to have demand. So as long as there's demand, we can fill the need with the supply. You guys have to go out there and get the supply. So to answer that, the lead gen companies work. It's how you approach and nurture the leads. You're not going to convert everyone. Everyone's not ready today. And if you approach it with that mindset, guys, it works. But when you don't approach it with that mindset, and you take a mindset of, if they don't respond to me right away, I don't have to follow them. I'm a top producer. I don't have to keep chasing people for their business. If you take that mindset, you're going to lose a lot of opportunities. Be humble, follow up, and you'll be fine. All those different lead strategies work. Any other questions, Courtney?
I have a question. If we have a referral partner in another state, are we allowed to still promote it on our social media as well as send it to our email list with the agent's approval?
Promote the property?
Yeah.
So the question is, for those that didn't hear, if you have a referral partner in another state and they're marketing a property, can you promote it? So you're not licensed in that state is going to be my answer. So if it's Georgia or New York, if you're not licensed in New York, you can't market the property, and you don't have the exclusive right to sell, meaning the seller hasn't allowed you to market it because they didn't sign a listing agreement with you. So you can't. Can you repost their post? Yes. So if you have John Doe in Florida that posts this beautiful home on the water, and that's your referral partner, you refer them to the client, and John posted on his social media, can you share that? Absolutely, but you cannot post that listing. You don't have an exclusive right to sell with the seller, nor are you licensed in Florida to be marketing homes there. This is the ask me anything part that you guys ask me anything.
How do we deal with like the buyers we do have, and them concerned about the interest rate rising? What is the best way to work around it?
I love this question. And I've shared some graphs and we have the data I could share with anyone that needs. Anyone here can guess what the average interest rate mortgage wise has been for the last 30 years?
7.35, something like that.
Very close, 7.78. That's the average interest rate for the last 30 years. So if we can show people the data and information and articulate that to someone, what's the problem with 6%? We were spoiled at the 3% that we were at, but it's still better than the average interest rate. And we don't foresee, no one has a crystal ball, we don't foresee it going back down to that. So if you play the waiting game and hoping and praying that it goes down and it doesn't, you're just costing yourself money. Because right now, let's say today it's 5.5 and you're hoping it gets below 5 and it doesn't. If it gets to 6 or 6.25, then you're gonna buy, it's gonna cost you more. Alternatively, there's always a fail safe. And here's the fail safe. If you buy today at 5.5 and the rates go to 4.5, what can you do? Refinance. So if the rates dip, you can refinance. So you have that option. But if the rates continue to go up and you wait, there's no win. You're going to pay more. And the cost of the homes continue to go up. It's not going up at 13%, 12% as they did during the last 2 years, but it's going to go up at the typical 3 to 4%. Plus, what happens to your rental income? How much money did you make on, your rental payments? How much money did you make on that? So you lose money on the rental payments, the prices of the homes continue to go up, and the rates most likely will go up. You're in the red 3 ways. It doesn't help to wait. That's my answer. But I think they need to see the data. According to Tanya, according to Olivier, according to us, sometimes it doesn't work. They need to see the data from something else.
Forgive me, I came in a little late. You were speaking about Zillow in the beginning. Can I get a little quick bullet point on what you were explaining?
Zillow works. It's just with little inventory, you get less inquiries. So if you're buying on Zillow, I'm not saying cancel your membership, but I'm sure everyone buying on Zillow is seeing a lot less inquiries because there's not a lot of inventory. Buyers inquire, the inquiries go to you guys. But when there's no inventory in Hillside, you're not getting any leads.
Okay, so you're talking about people paying for the Zillow leads.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you.
Let me see, there's a couple comments. Awesome. So a couple comments from our Facebook group. Awesome information in the red 3 ways. Great line. But that's the truth. So if you explain it to a buyer that way, you're in the red 3 ways. It absolutely should resonate. But I always like to send them the data because they don't always believe me or you, right? So any other questions?
I realized in the last recession, there was no micro information. So
Yeah.
realtors went blank, no information from them. Mortgage lenders went blank, or there was the doom and gloom when I watched CNN and I'm like, what's up? So you got to tell, who does your audience trust? They trust you. So I think at the moment, realtors were not educating what is happening in Union today.
Yeah.
We're not giving that information. The media drove the last crash. Yeah, Bloomberg, CNN, because realtors were bad at giving information. So you know what's going on in Cranford. You know what's going on in Easton. Tell your audience, because when I was investing, I was scared because a realtor couldn't even tell me what was going on. And, I don't know. He doesn't know. The mortgage lender, and it makes it even worse. That fear, and that's where a lot of people got impulsive because I was running around trying to chase people to get information, and realtors had nothing to say.
Yeah.
But if you have information of just basic information, when I was buying the most property, 9%, 14%.
Yeah.
And that was like 2006. And if you start giving that information, people go, oh, okay, let me relax because I still need to live in a home. So just give the content. Yeah, and you'll realize they'll come to you.
Very good point. And a lot of people take the national data that they hear on the news, to your point, Darryl, of that's their market. That is not their market. So there are different, even in New Jersey, there's different trends, right? The coast, versus Hoboken versus Cherry Hill and out west it's all different markets. So you got to be hyper local of explaining what's going on, and you got to know your market and what drives your market. We're right outside of New York. We always have the demand. There's a high percentage, probably somewhere, I don't have a fact on this, so don't hold me to this, but I think it's probably 40 to 50% of our buyers are from New York. So we have that demand, and because of that, that's what's driving our market. So when you see the national data, that doesn't mean that's what's happening in your neighborhood, but sellers interpret the national data, what they hear on the news, as this is my market. Rates are too high or whatever. You got to give them the information. And once they have the information and they understand, I think they make better decisions. But they're misled by the media, and that's who is kind of educating them, which is not hyper local to your market and what's really going on. Cool. Let me see. I saw a comment. Where are you sending them? Where are you sending them the data from? Good question. So a lot of the data I look at and get comes from a couple different sources. Keeping Current Matters is amazing, and I love them because they have graphs, and people are visual and they need to see the data. So the graphs on Keeping Current Matters, follow their Instagram, Facebook pages, whatever. If you're not a subscriber, it's worth the subscription. I also subscribe to Inman News, which I read every day. There's an article on something. I share some stuff. I don't want to overshare and pretty much, flood your email boxes every day with this stuff. But Inman News is another one that gives a lot of great information of what's going on in the market. And then, of course, Risk Media is the last one that I look at. That may be a little more on a broker's level, but those are some of the data points. But guys, there's a lot of information that comes from your board, the MLS, and New Jersey Association of Realtors. I would look at that because that's hyper local. That's New Jersey. The monthly market reports that come out, you could look at it by town, which gives year over year, comparing August 2021 to August 2022. That's what I would use, because you can break it down by town and county versus the state or the country. So I don't know whoever asked that question, but I would also look at the New Jersey Association of Realtors, NJAR's site, and you can really break down by town, county, as well as the state what's going on. And that data comes right from the MLSs. So your number of homes sold, new listings, average list to sale price ratio, median sales price, all that stuff is there. And that's the data that you can use online and repost, etc.
What happened with Open Doors this week, and how does it benefit us as realtors?
So the whole concept of iBuyers buying, and it happens a lot in other states. Carl and I have talked about this for a while. It's never really been a threat for New Jersey because we're not a subdivision cookie cutter state where all of the homes are the same. Between you have a 2-family next to a 1-family, next to a 4-family, next to a high rise of New Jersey, and our taxes being so, you have a $6,000, $7,000 home, then right next to it is $13,000 in taxes, and all the different things as far as title, COs. iBuying has never been to us a big threat because it's so hard to navigate it in New Jersey. But in other states, it was a big threat where the iBuyers, whether it's Open Door, Zillow, etc., they were taking some of the inventory and the sellers were selling to them direct, right? So now you're competing with institutional money that can buy cash, close quick, no questions asked, no listing, not open houses, they just buy it, and the sellers love that. And they were doing some other things on the back end to incentivize sellers. That was a threat where we're competing against now institutions, and that would continue to grow. We didn't really face that in New Jersey. It never picked up, it never got traction. So to us here, it's kind of a wash because they never gained traction. But if we were in Phoenix, if we were in Vegas, where you have these massive subdivisions and they have algorithms where they knew the value of the homes and could predict them and price them accordingly, and they start buying and mailing and online marketing, they have more money to market and solicit, and they did gain traction in a lot of areas. That's where they're like, thank God, one down, one less competitor. But for us, they never gain traction, so it's a wash. Any other questions? Let me see if there's anything online. I do not see any other questions. Do you guys like to ask questions instead of me always just coming up with topics?
They're both good, actually, because you tap into things that we don't think about, so. Sure. Yeah, they're both good.
Thank you. Tabby, did you have something?
I just wanted to kind of recap the 3 in the reds. So one of them is you're throwing away money, paying 100% interest. The other one is what paying rent means, 0% equity. Like, what were the 3?
Sure. So if someone wants to wait because the rates are too high or the prices are too high, what happens is, one, the rates probably will not go down. And if they do go down, you can always refinance. But if you're wrong as the borrower and the buyer and you wait, and the rates don't go down, what happens is you wind up paying more interest. So that's one. 2, the prices most likely will not decline. It's not a crash. A shift isn't a crash. So it's not going to go up at the 12, 13% that it has in the last couple of years, but it's still going to go up with inflation to a degree, 3, 4%. So ultimately, the $500,000 home is still going to cost you $515,000, $520,000 in a year. It's not going to go to $550,000 as we've seen, but even if it costs you $510,000, right, it's still going to cost you more. And then the payments that you've made towards renting in a year, if you wait, at $2,000 is $24,000 for the year that you threw away. So you're in the red with the rent payments. You're in the red that the prices of the homes will go up, and you're in the red that the rates will go up.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. So interesting. I just kind of came up with that, but it seems like a good
You said it last
tagline.
time too, but I need to get it.
I didn't tagline it that
Okay,
way.
yeah.
Federal Trade Commission fined Open Door $62 million for cheating sellers and misleading claims. Yes. That I didn't read into that article yet. I saw it, was a little under the weather this Sunday and yesterday, so I didn't read it. But yeah, they got fined, taking advantage of the public, right? Because they're giving valuations and misleading sellers on a lot of stuff. I'm going to unpack that a little bit later. But hey, one less competitor we have to worry about that's soliciting sellers and taking inventory from
What was
us.
this company?
Open Door.
Oh.
Yep.
That would be expensive.
All right, guys. So that will wrap it up for questions. If anyone else has anything now or later, please put it in the Facebook group and I will respond. But thanks. This is a good attendance. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.